should be like you, Mel.
Talksport Fan Network.
The ultimate on-demand destination for the UK's best fan-led football podcasts.
Want authentic supporter insight on all things Bournemouth? Follow Up the Cherries in all departments on the Talksport Fan Network.
Club-dedicated content created by the fans, for the fans.
Search Talksport Fan Network.
Hello Cherries fans and welcome back to the channel. Tonight we are hosting our player rating shows. We'll go through each player in the squad and we shall give a rating and we'll give a quick reason behind why we've rated each player, what we've rated. And tonight obviously joined by some very familiar faces now, obviously Mr. Craig Beasley. How are you doing, Craig? Nice to see you as always.
Yeah, good to be on again, Matt. How are you doing, mate?
Yep, not too bad. All good. And, of course, we're joined by Malcolm, as always. How you doing, Malcolm?
Hi. Yeah, great. Thanks. Good to be here. Nice to see you guys again.
Yeah, and you, Malcolm. So let's get going, obviously, with the ratings for the players this year. Obviously, these are just some ratings that, you know, the three of us have kind of come up with, sort of disagreed with and agreed with, and then sort of come with some sort of mutual agreement to what kind of rating we've been given the players. But obviously, if you disagree or agree, you know, put into the comments what you think that you'd grade a player that you maybe disagree with our scoring for, or, you know, whether it's too high or too low, you know, pop it in the comments and, you know, we'll bring them up on the screen. And yeah, let's start with the first player. We're going to do it in squad number order as well, for just be the easiest way of doing it. So we'll get started. So obviously doing it in squad number order can only mean the first player is obviously going to be our number 2, which this season has been Dino. So Dean Housen. Dean Housen for me has been a fantastic watch this season. A player with such maturity, years above his age. And you can see why he's obviously attracted the attention throughout the season that he has. But yeah, he's obviously put himself in the shop window, hasn't he? And obviously we know the deal has been done. But over his 36 appearances for the club, he's obviously managed 3 goals for us as well. He's looked very threatening from attacking perspective for us, but he's also been very, very strong defensively and also very, very good on the ball going forward as well. So it's a player that's going to be missed very, very greatly next season. But we've scored him an 8.8 for this season. And we're obviously going to watch him closely as his career progresses on at Real Madrid. So obviously with this player, we can't do an opinion on whether we should keep him, sell him or loan him out, because obviously the deal has already been done. So he's obviously on his way to Real Madrid. But there's obviously plenty more players to talk about, which we're going to now. And we're going to start with yourself, Craig, our number 3, Milos Kerkez. We've graded him an 8.5 this season, 41 appearances, 2 goals. Take it away.
He's brilliant. He gets forward. He's reliable at the back. He's a tough tackler. I think he's progressed in his time with us. In the 2 seasons, he's got better and better and better. The ball's into the box. He is the best left back in the whole division by far. I know Fulham fans will turn around and say that we're wrong. And I think some Liverpool fans might even turn around and say that we're wrong. But there's a reason why they want him. There's a reason why Man City want him. He's an outstanding talent, and he's only going to get better.
Definitely. And obviously we scored him an 8.5, which I think is pretty much bang on, to be fair. But I don't think I really need to ask the question on this one, whether we'd keep him, sell him or loan him, because we obviously want to keep him, don't we?
Oh, 100%.
Right. So our number 4 then, Milos Kerkez, is done. So on to our number 4, who is obviously Lewis Cook. Malcolm, over to you on this one. He's played 40 games this season, not known for his goals, but obviously scored a great header at Goodison Park early on in the season. But we scored in 7.8. Why have we done that?
He dropped off a little bit towards the end of the season. Normally, I would say he must be going for an 8.0. Mr. Adaptable, changed positions from midfield and then into right back. He gave everything really for the club this season. Can't really put a finger on why the last couple of games he was not up to par for whatever reason. But he would always be one of the first names on the team sheet for me. Mr. Reliable, I would say.
Yeah,
great player. I can't add more to that really.
Yeah, totally agree. And just before we quickly move on, we'll just say a quick good evening to Paul there. Thanks for joining us, Paul. So, guys, keep, sell, or loan?
Keep.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think that's a no-brainer, really. Craig, moving on from our number 4 to our number 5. Marcus Senesi, only 19 appearances last season. Obviously, had a bit of a injury issue, and then had obviously very good competition with Dino. Player rating is 6.8, which I think is probably lower, but with the amount of games he played last season, I would say it's probably a fair score.
Yeah, he's been always very, very dependable for this football club ever since he joined us. I think personally, his injury really did set him back. He never was able to recover his place back from Dino. And there's a reason why, because Dino is what you would call world class. We haven't had many world class players, what you could put into that category, play for us. Dino is one of those. You could say Nathan Ake was as well. I'm sure a couple of the current crop are going to, get into that category. But Marcos is a dependable defender. And, if it wasn't for that injury, he would never have lost his place. And, he looked dependable again on Sunday. I think, there was a couple of shaky moments. There was bit of rust that it felt like was falling off, but he'll be absolutely fine. And it's a no-brainer for me that we've got to keep Marcos here.
Yeah, no, definitely. And just before we decide on whether we keep, sell, or loan, just hello there to Brian. You're saying a great discussion so far. So
Thanks, Brian.
Thank you, Brian. Great to have you with us. So guys, I think really it's a no-brainer, isn't it? I think with Marcus, especially with Dino going, and obviously we know the performances that Marcus can put in for us and has done in the past, it's got to be a keep.
Definitely.
100%.
Yep.
Cool. So obviously our number 6 this season has been out on loan, Chris Meppen. So we'll move on to David Brooks. Scored 7.2. 33 appearances this season with 2 goals. Malcolm, Brooksy.
What a player. What a player. Come off the bench quite often, hasn't he?
Yes.
Been put in, to do a job wherever, and only puts him. And last game against Leicester, to be honest, he looked really, really up for it. Obviously, the last game always sticks in mind. But he just has that something. Really interesting to see a video interview with him earlier. And the one thing he wishes is he had more pace. That is, but no, 7.2 could be 7.5 really, but good player and definitely one to keep, considering what he's been through. The club has stuck with him. Great stuff. Let's keep him on.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think he's very important when he's come off the bench this season, and yeah, I think his performances have been excellent this year. So yeah, I think you'll agree as well. Craig is a player that we've got to keep, isn't he?
Yeah, 100%. Just to quickly touch on that as well, of course, I was lucky enough with Algard, who's sadly no longer with us, God rest his soul, to go down to the training ground, back in the first season, back in the Premier League. And of course, David was fighting back from Hodgkin lymphoma. And there was always that doubt, looking at like his stats on the board, that whether or not he was going to be able to do that. He's a model professional. He's shown that he's done that. He's taken on the chins, the loans, to actually get back to this position. And I think that's probably the last I ever need to mention of that Hodgkin lymphoma. I'm sure he won't want to remember that himself. It's of course part of him, but at the same time, he is the player what he is moving forwards. A smashing lad, really, really nice guy, and I'm delighted for him. And we've got to keep him. I said I was surprised he went out to Saints last season. Really.
Yeah, but I think maybe that move last season maybe did him the world of good, get some game
Probably
time,
did.
didn't it?
Yeah, can't disagree with you there, Matt.
Yeah, definitely wouldn't sell or loan him for the coming season. Obviously, we would definitely want to keep him in the ranks. Now, moving on to our number 8, Alex Scott. Unfortunately for Alex, he's had a few injury problems as well this season. A player that I rate extremely highly. I think he's got a very, very bright future in football. Very talented. He can play in a couple of positions, more forward, more of a holding role. He can also play out wide. Very versatile. But I forgot whose turn it is actually. Whose turn is it?
It is mine. It is
Oh,
mine. But I think,
Craig. Yeah.
to be
Sorry.
honest, I think you've echoed a lot of what I was going to say there. Another smashing lad, of course, was on the books with AFC Bournemouth all those years ago.
Yes.
Was determined not to make the grade. He's come back. He's fought, and he's going to be a really, really good player moving forwards. But there's a lot of potential that he is a burden on him. I think one thing I would say to fans is don't get ahead of ourselves too soon, but I think he will probably get to the level which everybody expects. So for me, 100% keep. I can't really add any more than what you said.
Well, maybe a loan for
Mm,
Scotty. Depends on the window, doesn't it? Maybe if we were to bring in some more competition, maybe a loan move wouldn't be the end of the world for him. And I have heard some people say maybe a loan to the Championship for the season might do him a world of good. Still a very young player, but he's someone that I think personally I would keep in the ranks. I think a 7 score would have been a lot higher if he had played a lot more games this season. That's just my personal opinion. I think he would have scored easily higher than that, but obviously I haven't included in these appearances what's substitutes and what's not, and this, that, and the other, because I would have been there for a month of Sundays. But it's I think fair score for the season, but definitely keep, keep.
Agree 100%. And I do see where Brian's coming from with regards to the suggestion for a loan, but I think it depends on who comes in really. But if the right caliber comes in and we feel that it would benefit Scotty, I wouldn't begrudge him a move to the Championship on loan, and I would even suggest Bristol City might actually be a good destination for a season for him.
Yeah. They had a fairly decent season, obviously making the playoffs last year, didn't they? So why not? So that's our number 8, and let's bring on the new boy, our new number 9. Evan Nilsson, 32 appearances, 12 goals. We've scored him an 8 for this season. Malcolm, over to you.
Star striker. What a centre forward, really. Holds up the ball, forever running, does the channels. 12 goals. It could have been more, obviously, injury. Set him back a bit. But he came back as if he wasn't missed. He is a very, very good target man. And he does a lot of the dirty work up front on his own. Super. And obviously, definite keep.
Yeah, I think it's a no-brainer, isn't it? Do you want to add anything quickly to that one, Craig?
To be honest, we missed him when he was injured. I know it took him a little while to get off the ground running. I remember, that Chelsea game, where it was a bit frustrating for him. But when he did find the back of the net once, it was like buses. They started coming. And yeah, he's a fantastic star. And again, a player that's only going to get better.
Yeah, definitely. And as Paul was saying here, a fantastic player. He has been. It's scary times at the beginning of the season, wasn't it, when we lost Dom? But this guy's come in and has been absolutely fantastic.
Yep.
So yeah, it's a no-brainer. It's not even worth asking the question. He's going to be very, very important for us next season. Brian's just popped up here with a comment. Yeah, he's a must. He is at least as good as Dom was. Yeah, I wouldn't disagree.
I'll go along with that.
Yep. Yeah, slightly different, but I would say just as good. Maybe with the potential to become even better. Who knows?
Yeah.
So now to move on to our player of the season, and I think he's been pretty much a lot of people's player of the season, and that's our number 10, Ryan Christie. We've scored him an 8.8. Craig, 32 appearances, 2 goals, the midfield engine. What can you say about him, really?
To be honest, he's probably underappreciated by every other Premier League fan, apart from AFC Bournemouth fans. We know how important he is. He is the heartbeat of the team. When he's not playing, we aren't the same Bournemouth. He runs into channels. He knows exactly where everybody is. He's a leader on the pitch, and he's integral to us. Like we've seen after his injury, we've not been as good as we were with Ryan in the team, and that doesn't surprise me. It might surprise other fans across the Premier League, but it doesn't surprise me because this man is such a good player. And yeah, it's an absolute no-brainer. I think we need to sign him up for a 15-year contract and make sure he never leaves Dincourt, to be honest.
Yeah, no, definitely. Malcolm, I mean, it's not worth asking, is it? We're going to keep him, aren't we?
We're definitely going to keep him.
Yeah, let's hope he's fit and raring to go for the new season, because like Craig just touched on, we have really, really missed him. So going on from our number 10 shirt, we'll move on to our number 11. Dango. 37 appearances, 9 goals. A great total of goals, actually. I didn't realise he scored as many as that, to be fair. Someone who we really praised sort of mid-season for being that man that come off the bench and changed games around. And Malcolm, what's been your views on his performances this season?
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. He's been put in so many different positions, hasn't he?
Yes.
Defender, winger, both sides, right, left. And like you say, come off the bench so often and been a game changer. He is unpredictable. Sometimes you think, well, we know what he's going to do here, and he doesn't, and vice versa. But the standout moment for me, for Dango, was in the penalty shootout against Wolverhampton. And he took that penalty, and it's something that's never been seen before, and it probably flummoxed everybody, including myself. Awesome. Yeah, star man, come on, let's just keep him.
Yeah, definitely.
I'll go along what Paul says here. Frustrating player, yeah, he is, but you have to take that with him.
Yeah, I think he's also. I think he'd also be quite frustrating to play against as well. I don't think I'd want to be a full back or a centre back because he's unpredictable. You just don't know what he's gonna do next. And yeah, great asset for us this season. I mean, guys, again, is there really any point and any need in asking?
I think it's a definite keep, to be honest, Matt. Albeit, though, there is these silly rumours going around, but of course
Yes.
they are rumours. Like always said, don't believe it unless it comes from Mark McAdam or the club. You know, I'm hoping it's an injury and it's not. You know, there's something behind it. But Dango, as Paul's rightly said there, he can be a frustrating player. He can do 9 things, and we said this before. He can do 9 things, and you think, what the hell is he trying to aim at? Too short, too long, trying to do a little bit of skill somewhere and it doesn't pay off. And then he does something unbelievable out of the box. So, yeah, 100% keep.
100%. Yeah, totally agree. Moving on to our Captain America, our number 12.
Hmm.
Tyler Adams, and the one thing that I've been really pleased with this season is that he's stayed fit because I've always thought there's a great player in there, and I think he's proven that this season. We scored him in 32 appearances. Okay, he hasn't scored a goal, but he's not there to score the goals. He's there to win the balls and create something from the midfield. So, what are we thinking on this one?
I'll be honest, at first, last season, I thought, no, and to be honest, at the start of this season as well, I was thinking he's too injury prone. We've got to try and get something back from him. But this season, he's shown why we've bought him. He's a solid player, really, really, really good at tackle, knows exactly where everybody is, really helpful for the defense as well, brings the ball forwards. He's a good, solid player, and hopefully his injuries are behind him. So yeah, keep for me. Yeah, in last season, you asked me last season, it would have been a sell. Try and make up some money on him because I didn't see him as getting fit, but now he is. Dead cert keep for me.
Yeah, he's also a natural born leader, and like Brian
Yep.
says here, he is our anchor man. So yeah, we've got to keep him, haven't we? We've definitely got to keep him. So moving on to our number 13, and we all know who our number 13 is, and that's been our goalkeeper this season, Kepa. So on loan from Chelsea, he's made 35 appearances. He's kept 8 clean sheets, and we've graded him at 7.8. So Malcolm, your thoughts on Kepa?
Yes, he's been for me a big surprise how he's progressed with his game, all round game. Yes, a goalkeeper can make a mistake and it gets noticed. A couple of whoopsies, giving away penalties when really bad decisions for him. But having said that, he's kept us in many, many games this season. I don't know how it goes with him going back to Chelsea. I did read something that he was coming back, almost want to buy him, but it's up in the air at the moment. Certainly want to keep him. I don't think there's a better keeper for us at the moment than Kepa. So hopefully we can keep hold of him or buy him back. Whether it's another loan deal, I don't know.
Yeah,
That's up to the business department to sort out. But no, very, very improved player over the season. Yeah, happy to have him in goal.
Yeah, no, totally agree. I mean, I must admit, at the beginning of the season, I was probably a bit critical, to be fair. But he has really grown on me, and I think, like you say, he's put in some great performances this season. Like you say, he has kept us in some games. 8 clean sheets ain't a bad total for the season. But obviously, slightly different question this time. Obviously, it's not a sell, loan, or a keep. It's a buy. Do we buy, Craig?
Oh,
Do
It's
we
funny
buy?
you come to me first. I don't think we will be able to. The reason being is I think the money he's on at Chelsea will be prohibitive. I think that if he is willing to take a wage cut, and Chelsea are willing to be sensible with their valuation, why not? But also the other part of me thinks I'd really like to see our own Mark Travers, in goal. But we can understand why Andoni isn't favouring Mark over Kepa, mainly because of the skills with the ball at the feet. So sign if sensible. Sign if a sensible figure.
Okay. Well, some of the figures I've seen mentioned, and that obviously we know it's only in the press, so who knows? But it is said that he'd be willing to take a wage cut, and there seems to be a sensible price from Chelsea. With the way we play, I think we need a goalkeeper, and I love Mark Travers. I'm a big Mark fan. We'll touch on Mark and some of the other loan players later on, but I totally agree with what you were saying, Craig. Would love to see him in our goal, because he is a fantastic goalkeeper and he deserves to be a number one. But Malcolm, buy?
Definitely. I'll put a few euros in the pot.
Yeah, I totally agree. Paul has also made a comment here. Sign him. He has come really good, and I agree. Yeah, he has. As the season has gone on, I think he's been excellent. So yeah, I would love to see us buy him, but obviously, who knows what's going to happen. Yeah, hopefully that performance on Sunday wasn't the last time we see him in a Cherry shirt, but who knows? That's for the future to unfold on that one. So let's move on to the next player, someone that everybody knows. Has been part of the club for many years now and has recently made his 400th appearance for the club, and that is of course Adam Smith. We touched on Adam on a cherry picking recently, guys, didn't we?
Yeah.
Where we discussed about how much of a legend he is, and for a guy of his age, keeping himself really fit to be playing at this level of football. 27 appearances, considering he's had a spell out injured, I thought was quite a good tally in fairness for him. And again, he is Mr. Dependable, isn't he?
Yep. Yeah, 100%. And I think, he has bought into Andoni's way of thinking. There was, a couple of times a few seasons ago under Gary O'Neill where he got caught out by players who have got a little bit more pace than Adam has got. However, he's adapted his game. He's dropped off those players when they are attacking and does determine when he's going to make that move, when he's going to make that tackle. And honestly, I think he's rolled back the years in doing that. Yeah, he's lost a shade of pace, but he is, part of, he is Mr. Bournemouth really now. He is the modern Mr. Bournemouth, and without a shadow of a doubt, he's been there throughout the promotion from the Championship. Sign him up all day long. Keep him, here for as long as possible. I don't want another cookie situation. And I think that Adam can play at this level for years to come.
Yeah, no, totally echo that. I'd like to see him have a testimonial. I think I've said that before.
Yeah, you mentioned that before.
Yeah, it would be lovely to see that. And like you say, Craig, he is our modern Mr. Bournemouth, isn't he? And he's a very important player for a manager, isn't he? That comes in. You've got a player there that's been here for so long and knows the club like the back of his hand. He is a very, very important player to inherit, really, isn't he, for a new manager like Andoni was, obviously at the beginning of last season. But yeah, 8.1, and yeah, it's a no-brainer, isn't it?
Yeah.
Absolute no-brainer.
100%.
So let's move on to our number 16, and that is, of course, Marcus Tavernier. We've scored him a 7.3. Malcolm, 32 games and 3 goals this season. What's your thoughts on Marcus?
Yeah, Marcus, another good player. Can be frustrating at times watching him. Obviously, another one that has to come off the bench quite often. Really interested was last weekend, where he got thrown into the middle, different position again, and he actually probably his best game of the season. So who knows with him? But wonderful talent. Think he should have more goals than him. Really, three's a little bit too few for my liking. But good team player. Good team
Yeah,
player.
yeah.
And keep, by the way. Yes.
Keep. Craig,
Yeah.
would you agree with that? Keep.
Oh, 100%, 100%. I echo what Malcolm said there. He can be frustrating. He can blow a little bit hot and cold, but he's got fantastic foot on him. So scored some screamers again this season. I really, really rate him. So yeah, keep him.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that kind of brings us to the halfway stage. If you agree or disagree with us, please pop it in the comments. Or if you're watching this after the live, then please pop your comments in below the video and let us know what you would score the players, or whether you'd keep or sell. Or it's quite an easy one this season, I think, because I don't think there's many that we would sell, is there? But
Okay.
we'll carry on now. We'll head on to our number 17, which of course is Luis Sinisterra. We've scored him a 6.5, which I think for the talent is very low. But I
Mhm.
think, unfortunately, again, another player that's been hampered by injuries.
I really like Lewis, and that's the real shame about this.
Mhm.
Is I really, really rate him. I rated him when he was at Leeds. He's really tricky, especially on that left-hand side.
Mhm.
When it was the Everton game, wasn't it, where he really, really shone away at Goodison Park this season. From memory, it's a long time ago, and that game was crazy. But I really like him, but injury prone, yes. Um, Appearances only 14. What do we do with Lewis? Um, I'd like to say keep, but if the injuries continue, we're going to have to somewhere go, right, we need to bring somebody in who is going to be a bit more regular, be a bit more available. So it might be a case of what Paul's just said there. To be honest, he's hit the nail on the head completely. Of course, Junior Stanislas, one of the one of the players that who have played for this club that absolutely love Junior Stanislas, but he was always bloody injured. And Luis Sinisterra could be this. Well, to be honest, his career's echoing the same, really, isn't it?
Yeah, he's a player that during the pre-season, I can't remember which game it was. I think it was which game was it? Can't remember the game. It was at home anyway,
Hmm.
and he really excited me. And I thought, do you
Yeah,
know what? He's going to be, really important for us this season. But yeah, it is unfortunately for the injuries. There's no doubt in the guy's talent. He's a fantastic talent. Um, but yeah, we've got to kind of make a decision on. I say we got to make, well, in our opinion, what we would
Mhm.
do. Um, Brian, not convinced with him, but I think he has potential. Maybe move
yeah,
him on, create space.
yeah.
Yes, every manager does have to make difficult decisions at times as well. I mean, Malcolm, what would you do in terms of Sinistera?
Okay, well, if when he came back from injury, I thought, all right, here we go. And he didn't last long, did he, on the field?
No.
But he had 15 minutes, if that, and then
Yeah,
he had to go off injured again. And I think to myself, right, we just can't afford to have players like that on board. Tal- Talented or not, you have to be realistic. And I feel sorry for the guy
yeah,
uh, for having to go through what he's been through. But if I was, I would say sell him because I don't think you're going to have a run of 20, 30 games out of him before the next injury comes along. That is obviously just my opinion, but I would sell him. Yeah.
I think, yeah, it would probably be the fairest thing for the player as well. Yeah, we could loan him out for a season, but that's not going to be any good. He needs to go to a club where maybe who aren't playing that intensity. He needs to get his fitness back. And at this football club, at this moment in time, we are a football club that are looking forwards. And yeah, I completely agree with Malcolm there. We're going to have to create a space for what Bill's got in mind for us. And yeah, unfortunately, Cine is probably going to be surplus to requirements. Not that I like him as a player, but I think that's going to have to be the case.
Yeah,
it's a bit unfortunate, really, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. But let's move on to record breaker. 8.5, 39 appearances, 13 goals. Justin Kluivert. I've sung his praises a lot this season on cherry picking, but yeah, Malcolm.
Is there anything you can say about him? Starman. Excellent. What a season he's had. Since his injury, he's come back. He hasn't performed to the levels before his injury, granted, but that's not without want of trying. It's some games just haven't worked out for him, unfortunately. But you have to look at the whole season, what he's produced. Stunning performances. Obviously, top of the draw is the Newcastle hat-trick away from home. Wow. Excellent. And when we didn't have Evan Nielsen up front, the goals had to be coming from somewhere. And he was one of the guys who stepped up. Yeah. Superb season. Keep him.
Yeah. Craig, do you want to just quickly touch on?
Yeah, not even Patrick could do that and score a hat trick up at Newcastle, and he played for them. Justin is a quality player. He's outstanding. He is following in the footsteps of his father. I was lucky enough, as everybody will know, to have gone to the Ajax Stadium earlier on in the season. And whilst I was there, I had a little tour around, and the guy I was speaking to, of course, not his uncle. Of course, his uncle would sing his praises, but the guy who was there turned around and he said, Justin should never have left Ajax. He's been unsettled until now. And under Andoni Iraola, I think Justin Kluivert has become a better player. He's become a player that is all-rounded. And I completely agree with you, Brian, but can we keep him?
Can, Brian. Yes, we can.
The thing is I think for the player, it would be better to stay at Bournemouth. Even if big money offers are being thrown around, he needs to look at what happened at Ajax and think, is the grass always greener? I can assure you, probably isn't going to be. So keep him 100%, not just for the club, but also for Justin himself.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, definitely. And let's move on to one of our new players, one of our new signings. Not seen a lot of him, but obviously we've had Kirkes playing in his position, who's obviously had a superb season. But I think this guy is very, very promising and has a great future. Craig, over to you.
Yeah, Julio Sola. Of course, I spoke to Alejo Rivera earlier on the season. If you do want to, no, Gary O'Neill's not coming back. No, 100% not. But I spoke to Alejo Rivera earlier on in the season when we signed this guy, and he said he is as good as, if not better than Kirkes. Now, I can't see that at this stage of his career. He is still a youngster. He's still got a lot of growing to do. I think he'll grow very, very quickly. I like what I see, and he's only going to get better and better. I think it's a definite keep, and we will see Julio Sola a lot more next season. I think, yeah, we could bring in, a left back who's been playing in the Premier League for years. Yeah, fine. But at the same time, that's not the way AFC Bournemouth do things. And Julio Sola, I think, will make the step up and get better and better and better. Definite keep from me. Really like the player and lots of potential.
Yeah, and just quickly before I come to Malcolm, very quickly, Paul has said he will stay. He loves it here. That's obviously referring back to our previous conversation there about Justin Cliver, and I totally agree with you there, Paul. Malcolm, keep,
Yeah.
loan, sell.
Keep.
100%.
Wasn't he brought in as a replacement for Kirkus anyway?
Well, that was what was rumoured at the time, wasn't it? That he would be an ideal replacement. And like I say, we've scored him a 6.7, but we haven't seen a lot of him, to be fair.
No.
But yeah, I totally agree with what Craig says. I think, this guy's going to develop into, an absolutely great player for us. So, keep. Totally agree with both of you on that one. And just quickly before we move on, Paul, hope you're feeling better soon, Paul. I know it's nice and early there in Oz. You might have to just rewind a little bit. We've covered off quite a few players. So, but yeah, no, cheers for tuning in, Paul, and I'll speak to you soon. 110% keep. Yeah, we totally agree with you there, Brian.
Definitely.
Let's move on then to our number 21. Started the season out on loan at Watford. Didn't really work out for him there. He was even playing with their development squad at one point, but he's come back to us and he's made quite an impression, I think. Malcolm.
Yep.
Daniel Jefferson. We scored him a 6.7. 21 appearances, mainly substitute appearances, but he has scored 3 goals. I think someone that's very, very promising for the future. I think he's at the right club to develop his career. But yeah, your thoughts?
My thoughts. He impresses me. He certainly does impress me. Look, I go along with that, Matt. He hasn't had that many minutes. But when he has come on, he's attempted, he's worked hard, he's hungry. He's hungry for success, he's hungry for goals. It's a keep all day long for me. And I think he's going to get better and better. I hope he gets more starts next season or longer from the bench. The 5 or 10 minutes, it's okay. It just gives them the minutes on his CV. But I would like to see him obviously have more minutes.
Yeah,
per game, and if he never run of games as well, would also be very nice. So yeah, bright future.
Yeah, definitely. And I've got a question for you both here.
Yeah.
No.
Question mark. Now, the reason why I've put that is we do have another exciting striker who's going to be joining the ranks. Now, if it was to limit Jefferson's game time, do we think we should loan him out to keep his progression going? Or do you think he should stay here and compete for his place?
Not to bloody Watford. I can assure you that. To be honest, Watford, after doing a little bit of research into the loan spell there, didn't utilise him, didn't use him as much as they should have done. Didn't feed him the balls. It was a terrible move, really, a terrible loan move. And to be honest, hey, everybody is going to get things wrong, and Frano and Pinto don't get much wrong. However, they definitely got that one wrong. I think it probably was a little bit to do with, of course, Charlie Daniels is at Watford, but unfortunately it just didn't work out there. It's not going to. It might work out for other players, but I do agree with you. With, of course, that other exciting striker coming in that we've already signed, who was out on loan last season. I think, if it is going to limit Daniel's game time, 100% agree with you, Matt.
Malcolm?
Well, obviously his loan spell at Watford didn't work anyway, did it? So I think it's very, very difficult with this one. I'm going to stick with what I said before, is to keep him. I think his future is at AFC Bournemouth. He's willing to work hard. So, if it's put in his hands, then he has to make the choice, go out on loan, or
I think he has got,
it's a
like you
tough
said.
one. But I'm going to say keep.
That's why I put a
Go
question
on.
mark, because I think I wouldn't want to see the players game time limited next season. I'd like to see him, because like Malcolm touched on, he is very, very excitable.
Yes.
He comes on like against City. It wasn't a great finish, but his determination created that goal.
Yep.
I want to see him playing week in, week out. So who knows? Who knows what the future holds? Only the likes of Frano and Donny and that will know what's going to happen with each individual player next season. But I just think that's why I had to put a question mark here, because I thought I want to see him playing, and if it's not going to be in a Bournemouth shirt, I don't want to see him just sat on the bench. I think he needs to be playing. I think he's at that time where he needs to be on the pitch, getting minutes under his belt and performing. But who knows?
I think, and I do agree with Malcolm, he's got a great future here.
Absolutely.
But I agree with you as well. I think maybe he needs a little bit more game time elsewhere. Some starts. 90 minutes each match, which he's not going to get here above Evan Nielsen. And then come back into the fray. And he is an exciting prospect who has got a big future here.
Yeah, I totally agree with both of you. And that's why my trailer thought was kind of with this. But yeah, we'll leave this one open. But just before we discuss the next player, Paul, not sure if you discussed Tyler Adams yet. Yet we have, Paul. If you go back a bit, we've done it in squad number order. So yeah, you have to go back a little bit for that one. Do you think he could maybe be captain next season? I think it's a possibility. He's a captain. There's no doubt about that. Even without the armband, he's a captain. Smithy's still here. Lewis has taken the armband this season when Smithy hasn't been on the pitch. So I don't see it myself, but definitely is captain material. Definitely is captain material.
Yeah.
Craig, I'll let you take this one. Partly because I always get the pronunciation wrong, so I'm not going to say it.
Do you know what?
Arejo?
Julian Arejo.
Arejo. I like the player. I think he's got a lot of potential. Over to you.
Of course, Mexican player. And Mexican players are always very, very fast, flamboyant, are skillful. The problem is he's very quick going forwards, like you expect him to be. However, defensively, he's got a lot to work on, and we've seen him in a couple of games where I think against Arsenal it kind of worked to some extent, but there's other games this season where it hasn't, especially earlier on in the season when he first come in, and I think yes, I really like the player, but at the same time, I think it might be fair considering Smithy, and I think we will probably look at signing another right back, that Arejo goes out on loan.
That's the surprise. That is the surprise.
I think a loan move probably would do him the world of good. Malcolm, what's your opinion?
But I've gone against the grain here, haven't I? Yeah, he's been unfortunate, obviously with injury, and then looking at the guys in front of him. Where does he get his minutes on the pitch? Is the question.
Mhm.
So, I mean, if Cookie is back in midfield, so that just leaves Smithy and at the right back. Now, Andoni is very clever with his management of players and their minutes. So he can rotate them,
Yeah.
maybe a 60-30 minute spell. So alternate that. That will give him the time on the field. Yeah, he does need more time, more play time. And if he can get 60 to 70 minutes per game, and obviously take him off and then bring Smithy on, whatever, as backup, fine. But give him the opportunity next season. It's not a bad thing. And I certainly wouldn't loan him out, because who are you gonna have as a replacement?
I mean, personally, I would keep Max Aarons in the squad next season, but we'll touch on that a little bit.
No, that's
Yeah.
fine. That's the question.
We'll touch on that one in a little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit further on. Just quickly, I'm not sure about him. Haven't seen enough of him yet. That's a comment from Paul. I think that's a very, very fair comment.
Yeah.
Fair
Yeah.
comment. And Brian, I think the jury is still out here. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think we're kind of and I think he's got a lot of potential. I totally agree with Craig. I think defensively, you know, needs to improve. But I think great going forward. I love his pace. I think he's a
Yes.
very exciting player. Someone that I think will have a good future at the club. I think personally. Paul, I think he is in Andoni's plans. He's on big wages. To be honest with you, I'm not too sure what wages he's on, but
Mhm.
yeah, one I think definitely for the future for us. But let's move on to our next player, James Hill. Of course, Fleetwood Town's first £1 million player. I've been impressed with him. I think he's played right back and he's played centre back for us this season. I think he's a good passer of the ball. Again, I think this is somebody that is going to have a bright future. But yeah, we scored him 6.8. Malcolm, James Hill.
Yeah, another one to keep, another one for the future. Why not? Adaptable player as well. Like you say, plays fullback, plays in the middle, whatever. Good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Once again, another player that needs more minutes on the field, isn't it? Simple as that.
Yeah,
Really.
and I think if he didn't get his injury when he did, I think he would have definitely had a few more
Yeah.
games
Yeah.
onto his total this season. Definitely. Yeah, definitely.
And a keep, yeah. Sorry, yes. Yeah.
Yeah,
definitely.
no, yes, that's fine, Malcolm. Keep Craig, do you agree with Keep?
Yeah, I know his agent, of course, Cecil G. Thomas, from Arsenal Fan TV. Yeah, smashing lads, and 100% keep. He's got a
Cool.
good future. And I think now Dean's gone, I think he'll get more. I think he'll get more chances. And there we are, Paul from Oz. Couldn't say it better myself. When he came on, he did the job.
Absolutely. Okay, Craig, you could take it away on this one. Let's be brief, though. Let's be brief.
Yes.
I know you can talk about this guy all night, but what a season, what a player. 42 appearances, 13 goals, 7.9 rating. Over to you, Craig.
I absolutely love the man. He's brilliant. I absolutely love this man. He's strong. He's quick. He's got an eye for goal. What else can I say about him? He's great to be around the squad. He's a genuinely nice bloke. He links up really well. He never really complains in the team. He is overall, a top level footballer. And he is, well, you don't even need me to actually bloody say whether keep, loan or sell here, because, to be honest, if he wants to go anywhere, I'm just going to lock him up and stop him leaving Bournemouth. So, keep him all day long.
Yeah, and obviously I know you all agree on that one as well, Malcolm. Got to keep
Yep.
him.
Definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's move on. Malcolm, I'll let you take it away.
That's an unlucky player if ever there was one. Yeah, it's sad that he got injured. But it was noticeable, before he got injured when he was on coming up in for Evan Nielsen, whatever. He didn't quite have the same standard as Evan Nielsen, in my opinion. And obviously his big injury that he's had to put him out for so long. I think he's going to have a struggle to get back into the starting lineup, even onto the bench. Obviously, it depends what plans are laid over the summer months. So what can I say? I would loan him out. That is the hard truth of the matter from my perspective, and see if he can get game time. I don't know at what level. That is the question. It would certainly have to be definitely championship. Whether it's abroad, who knows? But that's what I would do. I would loan him out once he's back to fitness.
Yeah. I mean, I will just briefly touch on it. Like you say, you touched on being unlucky. Obviously, when Evan Nielsen had his injury, obviously he injured his ACL that week in training, and he would have got a run of games up front for us. I like him from the bench, I will admit. I think he gives you something different. He can come on and give you something different up front that Evan Nielsen doesn't give you. I personally, a worldie of a free kick as well that Paul's just touched here. That free kick was something else earlier on in the season. Brian here saying loan, agreeing with yourself there, Malcolm. I think for the player, this is just my personal point of view. I don't know whether you'll agree, Craig. I think it might be time to sell. I think with the strikers we've got already, obviously with Jefferson and the guy coming in, what's his name? Coupe.
Croupy.
Yeah.
I think he may find it hard to get minutes. I think he was struggling for minutes anyway. I think there was rumours that they were going to loan him out in January if Evan Nielsen had stayed fit and he had stayed fit. So, but I think maybe this guy, I think he needs to be playing minutes. So I think sell, but I don't know whether you two agree.
I kind of agree with Malcolm that I would like him still in the fold here at AFC Bournemouth.
Yeah.
I think he is a player that will get better. He offers something a little bit different. If there's an injury, if he's got a recall clause, perfect. However, if I was his agent, and I'm thinking from a different perspective, we've just talked about Cecil G. Thomas, and of course, agents are going to say things in players' ears. I reckon that if it's a case of look, go on loan to somebody in the Championship, let's pick Middlesbrough. If go on loan to Middlesbrough, Enisu now for a season, the agent's not going to want that. He's going to want him to go back over to Spain, or he's going to want him to go to Germany or France or Italy. So I think even though we might say, look, we want to loan him out, the agent's not going to have any of it. I think we're going to have to sell.
Okay. Here we go. Sabani. 39 appearances. What did surprise me is that he didn't score any goals this season. He's normally a threat in the box, isn't he?
Yes.
But he's there mainly to stop goals, isn't he? And 39 games this season, 8.3 rating. Whose turn was it? Sorry, I've forgotten, guys.
It's my turn. It's my turn.
Craig, over to you.
This is an absolute no-brainer. Keep all day long. I know that he's been linked with Man City in the past. They can bugger off. He's a really, really talented player. To be honest, I think there would have been a lot of suitors for him after the Euros if he had a decent Euros. Unfortunately for Ukraine, fortunately for us, he didn't drop the ball a couple of times in the Euros from memory, which was unfamiliar, something we haven't seen really. He's a quality player, fantastic. Keep him all bloody day long.
Yeah, and Brian, we totally agree with you as well on that one.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, he's part of the squad. He hasn't made any appearances this season, so we can't give him a rating. But Will Dennis, he's had an excellent spell on loan a season or so ago at Kilmarnock, where he was very, very popular. He's been, the managers had confidence in him to be second choice for the remainder of the season when they loaned out Mark Travers. So that puts a lot of confidence in the player. But just very quickly, guys, keep, sell, or loan?
Well, I'd just say keep. We need a backup keeper anyway. So that is a really open question, isn't it? What's going to happen with the goalkeeper position for the coming season? But yeah, keep him.
Craig?
Yeah, goalkeepers, I think, of course, they retire a lot later. They can, play up into their 40s, some goalkeepers are. So we shouldn't be too worried. He is 24 years of age. We shouldn't be worried. Most of his loans have been on loan to non-league teams like Weymouth, Wealdstone, Kilmarnock. Kilmarnock, Scottish, aren't they? But Slough Town. Yeah, Scottish football's not very good. Sorry, Scottish fans. But I honestly think that what we need to do during this period is to find somebody to maybe come in if we're going to keep Kepa. Just find a backup goalkeeper if that's not Neto, and maybe loan him out to a championship side. Of course, we've got Mark Travers as well, but I don't think Mark Travers is going to want to play second fiddle. Yeah, I know you put keep there. I would loan him out, but we need to kind of rejiggle. It's a bit of a jigsaw, that.
Yeah.
That's a bit of a jigsaw.
Totally agree. And just before we take a look at the loan players, briefly, before we finish, just quick question here from Brian. Give the guy a loan, have higher up in the championship. Yeah.
100%.
Yeah,
100%.
We've got to give a shout out to these guys who have made up the match day squad over the season when we had some, injury problems. Ben Winterburn, I think he's made the most appearances. I think he's made about 8 appearances for us this season.
Yeah.
Looks like he's got a very promising future as well of the other 3. But yeah, these guys must have had some great experience this year by being involved in the match day team. Okay, they haven't got on for many minutes, but when you're in, the development squads and you're trying to earn your, way into football. These guys must have had some great experiences being in the match day squads this season.
Yeah, definitely. And this is only going to get better and better, the youngsters that are coming through. It's years ago we would have dreamt of signing youngsters like this, mainly because most of our young talent in this area would have been poached by other teams like Southampton. Unfortunately, we have now got this academy being built. It has been built. We just need to get category 1 and we'll be able to attract the best talent, in this area by far, especially considering if we're going to be a Premier League side in Southampton, if they stay championship or below even, it's going to hamper them having somebody who's got such a good academy next to them. So yeah, really excited for these guys. That can only help. And I think the coaching team are doing a absolutely fantastic job with them as well.
Yeah, definitely. Malcolm, do you want to have a little say on that one?
Well, the academy, just have a look at the season they've had. I think that says everything, really. Wonderful. I agree with what Brian says here. Goal machine.
How many goals had he scored in? I did read it the other day and it's gone, but he had a great total of goals in a certain number of games. Like 13 goals in.
Oh, it's ridiculous amount in so few games.
And he seems a very exciting prospect. So the development squad, like you both say, has got some amazing talent in it, and they got some great coaches involved there as well, haven't they?
And
Yes.
that's obviously got to attract even more youngsters, to come in and have a look, to see how they do it, and who knows, it can just develop from there, if you like.
Yeah,
Wonderful, wonderful. Future's bright.
absolutely. And I think that's key to the end of this season, that the future is very bright, isn't it?
Yes.
So before we go, we're just going to take a look at some of the loan players. Now, what I want from both of you is I'm going to just run through the player quickly, and then all you can say is either sell, loan, or keep.
Oh,
Am I
pressure.
getting paid for this?
Sell, loan, or keep. Say again.
Am I getting paid for this?
Okay, let's start off. So Neto, he's been obviously on loan at Arsenal this season. He only made one appearance at Arsenal. Made 3 appearances for the Cherries early on in the season. Now over to you. I'm going to start with you first, Malcolm. Keep, sell, or loan?
Selling.
Craig?
Sell.
Sell.
Sell. Okay. Next player. Jaden Anstey has already gone, obviously. So, we'll send a big thank you to Jaden Anstey for his services at Bournemouth. He was a fantastic player. A player that, I didn't really want to see us lose, but I can understand his career. It is probably the best thing. And he's had a cracking season at Burnley.
Yep.
And it was great to see him in our stand over the weekend. He was celebrating with some of the supporters and
He's buying everybody pints.
getting a few beers in, I think, wasn't he?
Well, yeah.
But no, fair play to him. He's been a great player for Bournemouth. And yeah, I just wish him all the best at his new club. And he's working with a manager he's worked with before, who put a lot of confidence in him when he broke into the first team at Bournemouth. So
Yeah.
I think it's a good match. And Paul, agree about Jaden? Yeah, absolutely. Mark Travers. Okay, this is going to be a difficult one. So obviously he's made 5 appearances for the Cherries this season. 2 games he played that I can remember. He played an absolute blinder, I think, at Villa, and then he played in the Man City win, didn't he? Where he kept a chance out from Haaland. He made 17 appearances for Middlesbrough. He's kept 1 clean sheet for Cherries and 4 for Middlesbrough this season. So I'm going to start with you, Craig. Keep, sell, or loan?
Keep all day long.
Malcolm, keep, sell, or loan?
100%. Keep him.
Keep. Cool. Okay. Oh, well, there you go. We've seen that one. So there's a gremlin in this system or what? But okay, Joe Rothwell. I think it must have been quite frustrating for him, especially last season with the amount of minutes he got. He's played 39 times at Leeds this season, so he's obviously had a good spell in the Championship. But yeah, I think sell. But what do you two think, Malcolm?
Yeah, I actually put him down as sell.
Craig?
I like the man, but sell. I think it's best for his career.
Yeah. Okay. Max Aarons. Now, this is a guy who I really love and I really rate. So, keep, sell, or loan, Malcolm?
Keep.
Craig?
I'd love to keep him, but I just don't think he's in Andonis' plans. For me, keep.
Yeah, for me, keep. But obviously, we don't make the decisions. But if we were, we'd be keeping. I rate the guy. I really do. I really rate him.
Yeah, I do.
Chris Mepham, great season at Sunderland. Craig, keep, sell, or loan?
Unfortunately, Chris's time here has come to an end. I think it's a sell, but I would sell to Sunderland. I think he can do a job for them.
Malcolm?
I'd go along with that. Yep. I had him down as sell.
There's a couple of comments there. Brilliant keeper. I'm assuming you mean Mark Travers there, Paul. And keep Max. Totally agree. We agree with you, Brian. Yeah. We agree. Yeah. We totally agree. Meps deserves a sell. Yeah, I think we totally agree with you. Sell. I think it's best for his career where he is. He's international and needs to be playing, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Okay. Ooh. Now, this one for me was really, really difficult,
Mm,
but I want to know what you think, Malcolm.
Well, I've put him down as keep. It's obviously difficult, when they're out on loan to foreign teams to get as much information from, about them, how they're doing. It's not so easy. Yeah, I mean, I'll put it down as keep. I mean, the reason I'm saying, obviously not just him, but going through the list and everything, we need to have a squad next season. That yes, we know that there may be one or two coming in, maybe more, but we need a squad with some depth in it. We couldn't go through another season like this previous one here, where we're down to the bare bones.
Yeah.
So obviously, strength in depth would be wonderful to have. Yeah, come on, let's keep it.
Well, he excited me during pre-season, and I like to see some more of him. But Craig, keep Sale alone.
this is a difficult one because I think he has got a lot of talent, but there is certain players that can only play in certain leagues, and I think Roman Faver might be one of those who is best positioned in the French league. Not saying that he can't go to the very top of the French league. It would not surprise me if he was playing for PSG at some point in his career. But the Premier League is a lot of a very, very different animal. And I'm sure we're going to mention one player in a moment who has done exactly the same as well. I think it's a sell for me.
Okay. Well, I think it's keep. So 2-1. I think there's something with him. I might be completely wrong, but there's something about him I really like.
Yeah.
But we haven't seen the full potential. But I do agree with what you're saying there, Craig, as well, that he might only be suited to certain types of league. Okay, this guy, again, another player I really like, another player I really rate. I don't think he's ever really settled with us. But a guy with lots of potential. You can see here 24 appearances this season, scoring 10 times. Right, let's keep it to just keep, sell or loan. Malcolm, keep, sell or loan.
Keep.
Interesting. Craig?
Sell.
I've got to agree with you. Oh, with the Gremlin stop, I've got to agree with you. Brian saying keep. So, Brian, Malcolm, I just think it might be a case of making space in the squad.
Possibly. Yeah.
Loaning players out, can you?
He's
again,
talented.
Yeah, he is.
He is talented, but
and that is the really disappointing thing. But yeah, I would say potentially. So
why didn't he come up on my list on the email you sent me?
Don't know.
We just wanted to put you on the spot, Malcolm. That's what we wanted to do.
I'm looking down the list here. I'm thinking, who's this?
Sorry, that's my fault. That's my fault.
Don't worry about
it. The guy that was on your list, though, Malcolm. He's had a brilliant season out in with Bill Foley's new club, Auckland FC. Yeah. I think they won the league out there, didn't they?
I think they did, yeah.
So he's had a great season, 28 appearances, 11 clean sheets. That's a decent tally for a goalkeeper. Right, keep, sell, or loan?
Loan.
Craig?
Loan.
Yeah, totally agree.
But just to add a bit, very, very quickly, loan to somewhere not the A League. I know that sounds really, really, really counterintuitive, but I think he needs to test himself in another English team.
Yeah, and do you know what? I'd love to see him in the Championship.
Yes.
Okay, last loan player, Philip Billen. Made 10 appearances for us this season, mainly from the bench, if I can recall rightly, and he's played 9 times for Napoli. Yeah, difficult one, but I'll let you. Oh, sorry, Malcolm.
Is he entitled to a winner's medal?
He is.
I would imagine he is. I don't think they do so many appearances before you qualify now. I think you only need to make an appearance, don't you? I might be wrong, but I think he does qualify for a winner's medal. And what a great season they've had at Napoli.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's keep it short and sweet. Sell, loan, keep. Which one are you going with, Malcolm?
Sell.
Craig?
Sell.
Yeah, I agree. I do agree. Yeah, I understand your point there, Paul. We could have used him, especially when we did have the injuries. And he is quality on his day. He is quality on his day. But yeah, he did get his medal. Thanks for clarifying, Paul. And Brian, Phil, Bill loves it at Napoli. So maybe, who knows? Maybe that's where he will be heading. But that brings us to the end of the ratings show. Obviously, if you've enjoyed it, please give us a like, a subscribe. If you've disagreed with us, pop it in the chat, pop it in the comments below. Like I say, it's just our opinions. No one's right, no one's wrong. It's just what we think. But Craig, once again, as always, the face of the channel, thank you for joining us. It's been a pleasure. It's been quite strange doing role reversal, but even so.
Do you know what? I like it. I like it. You're a fantastic host, Matt. So no, thank you.
Well,
and I think tell you what,
I'm not as confident as you are at hosting, but yeah.
well, see, the fans are here.
It was nice to do something different for a change.
You should do it more often, Matt.
I agree. I agree, Malcolm. I agree.
Thank you. Brian, fantastic show. Well done. And thank you, Brian, for joining us tonight. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks for your input, guys.
Paul from Oz, good chat, lads. Yeah, great to have you
Paul.
with us, Paul, as always. Don't forget, rewind back to the beginning, and you can see the other players that we discussed. And if you don't agree with us, pop it in the chat with what you think instead. But it has been a great season for AFC Bournemouth. It's been a record-breaking season. It's been a roller coaster ride, and we thoroughly enjoyed it. And keep your eyes peeled, because on the channel, coming up shortly over the next couple of weeks, there will be our season review. And throughout the summer, there's going to be a whole host of other things coming up as well, isn't there, Craig?
Yes, yeah. Not sure what they're going to be. Some of them still need confirming. But yeah, I will keep myself busy on here like I need to. So yeah, keep your eyes and ears peeled. There's loads more coming.
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, I suppose all that's to say is thank you, obviously, to yourself, Craig, and Malcolm. Thank you for joining us. It's been a pleasure to have you with us.
Lovely. Thanks very much again for the invite. Yeah, it's a fun thing to do. And look forward to whenever the next one.
Yeah, I'm sure you'll be back on very, very soon.
You're always welcome.
From Craig, Malcolm, and myself, thank you very much for joining us. Again, hit the like and subscribe if you haven't also done so already, even if that made sense, who knows, but hey ho. And we'll see you in the next one.
Talksport Fan Network.
The ultimate on-demand destination for the UK's best fan-led football podcasts.
Want authentic supporter insight on all things Bournemouth? Follow Up the Cherries in all departments on the Talksport Fan Network.
Club-dedicated content created by the fans, for the fans.
Search Talksport Fan Network.
I should be like you, Mel.